Friends, good morning. It's wonderful to be with you this morning. The Diocese of Cleveland. I don't know if you know this, but yesterday at the Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist, Bishop Malesic ordained 8 new men for priestly service in the Diocese of Cleveland. There's 8 new priests, 8 new baby priests walking around Cleveland. It's awesome. Yeah. It's pretty amazing what's happening, especially in our own diocese. The boom of vocations, it's really, really good. It's really, really good. So it was a beautiful, beautiful liturgy. It was 3 hours long. It was almost as long. I mean, this might sound weird to say. Like these are very impressive men. Like these are not like weirdos, okay? Like these are really handsome, strong, virile, very masculine men who are smart and capable. Like these are guys who could have done anything. And it was just beautiful to watch them yesterday lay their lives down for Christ and his bride, the church. I had first Mass I went to last night. I'm going to head over to St. Hilary's in Fairlawn for first Mass at 2 o'clock and then another first Mass at 5:30. So it's just a liturgy bonanza this weekend. So that's why I had a donut at St. Clement's this morning. So I'm a little jazzed up. So anyway, so friends, this weekend, I feel personally a very deep affinity with the Lord in this gospel. Because I'm sure you've heard by now, but this, of course, is the second, as I round out my time here in the Lakewood cluster, the bishop has asked me to be the next administrator of St. Bartholomew Parish in Middleburg Heights. I'll be there as administrator, hopefully about a year or so, then God willing, Bishop willing, and the creek don't rise, all the things, I'll be hopefully appointed as the next pastor of that parish. So it's all kind of coming to a close, and then do you go to the gospel, and Jesus says to his friends, he says, "My children, I will be with you only a little while longer." Like, I feel that. And the Lord, in this moment with his friends, he's distilling it all down into the absolute essentials, and he's giving his friends the gold from his heart. And that's kind of what I want to do this morning. I want to just share, what I would say is the absolute essential that comes out of the readings that we have this weekend. And I want to focus just on one little line. Evangelist, late in his life, exiled on the island of Patmos, caught up in this mystical vision, is given a glimpse into the throne room of heaven. And the one who sat on the throne said this, right? "Behold, I make all things new. Behold, I make all things new." Notice, it's not, "Behold, I make all new things." It's, "Behold, I make all things new." I think sometimes, at least in my own life, I've wanted God to do the reverse. I want him just to make new things, like just scrap the stuff that I've made a mess of. Lord, just the Etch-a-Sketch version, Noah's Ark, wipe it out, start all over, make all new things. In my life, in my past, in all of these things. And he's like, that's not what I do. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to make all things new. If you remember in The Passion of the Christ, Mel Gibson's Passion, the director brilliantly, or the screenwriters, whoever in the way, right, bloodied, bruised, just destroyed in his passion, in his agony, he meets his mother and looks at her and says, "Behold, I make all things new," through the Paschal mystery ever accomplished in us over and over and over again. He's making us new. And I guess the question that I want to put before us this morning, the question that I just was wrestling with in this week of praying with this text, was just simply this: is that really true? Lord, is it really true that you can make all things new? Is it really true that you intend to and desire to and have these words more than just poetic, religious, flowery language? Because it sounds great, but is it true? That's the question. Like, just take for a moment, just take for your life, for example. Forget the whole cosmos with all of its brokenness and disfigurement. Just zero in on your life for a second. Just start with you and your story that has, yes, lots of beauty, lots of joy, but also lots of pain and lots of sorrow and moments of loneliness and failure and seasons of your life where there's great suffering, experience of being left out, picked on, teased, all of those things. Maybe it was your parents' divorce that shattered you, or your friend's parents' divorce, and then they had to move away, and just dealing with that. Disappointments, hurts, betrayals, the pain you felt when your first dog died, right? All of these things, when your mom remarried, when your dad remarried, or when that awful thing happened to you along the way, or when along the way you started dealing with your pain and your stuff by choosing to enter into sin, by putting the masks on and the coping mechanisms and all the things that we all do in the dark that we don't want people to know about. The shame, the regret, the remorse, all of it. Okay, so take your life, who sits on the throne, who says with great audacity, I make all things new. Like, really? All of that? You can make all of that in me new. Yes. Yes is the answer. So the question then is, how? How, Lord, will you do that? I want to take you, so blessed to be asked to be the chaplain for a pilgrimage to Rome and Assisi in conjunction with the Theology of the Body Institute, with Christopher West leading this pilgrimage. And one of the great selling points of this pilgrimage was when we went to Rome, we were going to get a after-hours, behind-the-scenes guided tour of the Vatican museums. And it was going to culminate in an uninterrupted, our group alone, 2-hour period of time in the Sistine Chapel. I saw that on the poster. This trip sold out in like 5 minutes. It was amazing. And because if chances are, unless you are a cardinal of the Sistine Chapel, it's going to be at the end of the Vatican Museum tour. You get filed into the Sistine Chapel, you and about 500 of your closest friends from around the world, and you're all shoulder to shoulder, like packed along like sardines, all of you staring up at the ceiling, overwhelmed by it, and you're being yelled at by Italian guards saying, "Shh, silenzio, no photo," right? It's a very moving experience. And about 20 minutes and you're out of there, and you're like, what just happened? What did I see, right? So I was so excited about this prospect of going into the Sistine Chapel alone, right? So we get to Rome, we're doing the final tour through the Vatican museums. It's like there's no one in there. So, in an act of great piety and humility, I barged my way to the very front of our group, okay? Because I wanted to be on the very front edge, walking into a completely empty Sistine Chapel. Because when else do you get to do that, right? And I did. It was very holy. It was a great moment of my life. Walked in, got to the very center of the floor, right beneath where Michelangelo's creation of man is, right? The fingers of God with Adam. I got right to that spot, and I'm like, well, carpe diem. And I laid down on the floor, okay? Staring up at the ceiling, and I'm overwhelmed, absolutely overwhelmed. Tears start coming down my cheeks. It's just a powerful moment for so many reasons. And without me realizing it, the rest of the group came behind me, and they all saw this happening, and they all followed suit. So very quickly, there's about 15, 20, 30 adults lying on this, and they freaked out. I think they thought we were like a suicide cult, okay? We're like, all right, we're going to get in there, we're going to lay down, and that's where we're doing it. And they're all like, get off the floor, right? And it was a great moment. I'm like, well, that's a good memory, it's a good story. But it was amazing. We got this uninterrupted time there, which gave me the opportunity to notice things that I had never noticed before. So, of course, we know that the whole ceiling is the fresco of the creation story by Michelangelo, and the center, of course, is the creation of man. All of the walls are covered in frescoes. You've got the Last Judgment scene, of course, on the back facade that you probably saw in the Conclave, either the movie or the footage from 2 weeks ago. Beautiful, beautiful scene depicting the Last Judgment. And then all around, it's like this 3-tiered cake that surrounds the church, the chapel, with depicting scenes of the life of Christ on the top and middle layers. And then I noticed finally the bottom third of the Sistine Chapel. Mind you, every inch is covered in frescoes. The bottom third, it's entirely and exclusively painted curtains, painted drapery. That was my reaction too. I finally was like, wait, why? What a waste. Like, was there a verse in John where Jesus was like, don't forget the drapes? You're like, oh, I'll paint that on the walls, No, what's the deal? I was sitting there, I was like, Lord, why are there drapes? Why curtains? And he whispered, he's like, because this is the drama that really counts. This is the drama in the final analysis that really, really matters. Think of like the stage curtain, right? That's what he's depicting. This is the drama that matters. Like the only difference between the saved on the right, the sheep on the right, and the goats, the damned on the left in the last judgment, it's not that the one really hard to be really, really nice and man, they got their novenas in. The difference between the left and the right is that the ones on the right, the saved, the ones who were saved, they allowed the love of the bridegroom to reach in and to touch every part of their lives. They didn't stay insulated. They didn't stay walled off or closed up. They allowed his heart, this throbbing, infinite, merciful heart, they allowed his heart to come in and to invade and to touch and to shine light upon every part of their lives, every part of their story. They let his love reach them. They let themselves be reachable, vulnerable. That's the difference. There's a detail the first time there that I never noticed before. That on the right side, the saints, the holy ones who are going up to heaven, it's like what you see them doing, you see all these saints and angels carrying all of the implements of the passion. They're hauling them all up to heaven. So you've got like an angel and saint lifting up the column that Jesus was scourged at, and then someone else is holding the nails that he was crucified with, and someone else has the crown of thorns, and another angel has the flagrum and the cross, all of it, the spear, the sponge, into glory. It's all being taken up. It's all being redeemed. It's all being transformed. It's this artistic way of saying, I can make all things new. The worst stuff of your life, I can make glorious. If and only if you as my bride let me in to that. If you suffer the coming of my love into those places, if you suffer the coming of the light into the dark and someone flicks on the light, it's painful to welcome the light into the darkness. If in the dialogue of our friendship throughout the course of your life, if you are committed to letting my heart scooch closer and closer to every part of your life. Friends, between now and eternity, every part of you has to get touched by God's love. It begins now in this life, it's perfected in purgatory, completed there, and I promise you it will be a lot less painful to start doing the work of that now. Every part has to get touched by the light, every story, every wound, everything has to get made new. Everything has to get rid of all that's been. No, I make all things new. I turn graves into gardens, tombs into wombs, sinners into saints, dead things into living things. I can take your worst moments, your worst memories, and if you let my love in there over and over and over again, that can become a place not of alienation, pain, or isolation. That can become a place of deep communion and love where all you think and all you remember now is how much you were loved there. His love can make all things new if we let him into it, if we let him close, if we let his love, which is so beautiful. You have to let his love reach you. I'm afraid so many Catholics, so many cradle Catholics, so many folks who come to Mass Sunday after Sunday, they come to the rainstorm of mercy and love wearing a poncho, and you walk out and you wonder why you're not changed. You have to become vulnerable. Take the poncho off. Take the umbrella down. Render yourself reachable by becoming vulnerable to him. Amen.